If you struggle with burnout, you likely have experienced depression. If you're anything like me, I have had bouts of depression here and there throughout my life. And it's something that I can get caught up in really easily. So, if you're someone who sometimes struggles with depression and maybe is looking for ways to gently nurture and support yourself in transitioning out of depression, this episode's for you. Welcome back to the Burnout Fairy podcast, where burnout meets boundaries, self care is sacred, and rest is our rebellion. So, transparently, it takes me a while to realize my own personal patterns. There was a time, I think, in the towards the end of the winter season where I realized I wasn't doing my own work. I wasn't doing the things that I come here and advocate, like breath work, setting boundaries, doing the things that light me up. I was not doing them. And I wasn't doing them because I was depressed. I remember I got an email from a productivity kind of dude whose email list I'm on. I like the way he says things and phrases things, and it always gets me thinking. And the title of his email said, "Are you taking an honest look at yourself?" No, I absolutely wasn't. I wasn't taking an honest look at myself. I've been battling depression and anxiety most of my life. And as an adult, I feel like anxiety has been more rampant, at least more apparent than depression. It's certainly been noisier, to be sure. And as someone recovering from burnout, I know that I need rest. And if you're into human design at all, I'm a projector. And projectors have very small batteries, and we need more rest than most people. We also can, we're huge, these big visionaries, but we do require a lot more rest. I have these bursts of energy, and they're sometimes unpredictable. And I have to jump on inspiration and motivation as I feel it because my energy levels are rarely consistent. Now, the other issue I have is I get summer sads. I am a fall, winter, early spring girly. I love the summer too. It's the best time for foraging, for gardening. I live in a place with a very long summer, and there is a certain point where the heat and the intense energy of the summer season really just burns me out. And towards the end of July to mid August, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted by it. Summer is not my friend at that point. I'm ready for cozy fall season. I'm ready for sweaters. I'm ready for pumpkin spice. I'm ready for early nighttime season and the time change. I'm ready for the restful time of the year. It just so happened this last summer that I switched careers at the end of July. And I was going from a career that required long periods of focus and quiet time, heads down, doing the work, doing the problem solving, into a position, into a career where I'm doing more managing, I'm doing more orchestration, I'm helping to connect groups and to push things along and doing that kind of coordination. And it required that I interact with people more. It required that I task switch more often. I was multitasking again for the first time in my career in a long time. And it was very jarring. I was going from working one way that I had been working for 20 years, which honestly wasn't my preferred way. I do prefer this more chaotic sort of moving around and coordinating with other people. I like moving and I like the dynamic collaboration much more than the heads down working in a silo. So, but even though this is my preferred way of working, still not the way I had been working for the past 20 years, the way I had trained my brain to work for the last 20 years. So, making this switch was a lot mentally and physically. I felt so exhausted that I would give myself a lot of space to just rest. And resting for a little bit looked like reading a book for the hours after work until I went to sleep. It was resting was not making plans during the week with loved ones and friends and family. Resting looked like not doing the chores that I needed to do. Resting looked like not doing the meal prep, maybe ordering in food, having it delivered to me. Resting then looked like just laying down and watching TV for hours on end. And then that sort of became the normal. I wasn't waking up and doing my normal chanting. I was waking up and turning on the television. I wasn't going for a walk first thing in the morning once I got out of bed. I was watching some YouTube videos or scrolling on my phone. I wasn't doing activities after work that lit me up anymore. I was going straight to bed and watching videos all night until it was time for me to go to bed, which, because I was watching TV and not paying attention to the time, became later, and my bedtime became later and later and later. Unfortunately, I did a lot less, and that meant depression started to rear up slowly and quietly, and it snuck in without me even noticing. Depression and exhaustion have a lot of similar qualities. So before I knew it, I was completely in bed, riddled with depression, letting my life go by with absolutely no motivation to do anything about it. I was watching a ton of television. I've talked about it before. I will talk about it again. Television is my drug. Television is my numbing agent of choice. We all have a vice, and unfortunately, television is mine. I was in bed more often than I wasn't. So I wasn't socializing and I didn't seek out social engagements. I actually really avoided social engagements and I stayed in way too much and I kept my social circle very, very small. Oh, and I wasn't moving my body except to move from point A to point B in my own home. I wasn't engaging in any creative hobbies, no knitting, no soap making. Gosh, I didn't go hiking for a while and I had given up dancing for the most part the year before because I was experiencing some injuries. So my primary method of movement outside of going on a walk was and hiking was sort of not available to me. I also wasn't making any progress on my most important goals. And I was barely getting outside. I was literally just existing. I would provide 100 reasons to anyone who asked about why I was just existing. I was in survival mode, and to be honest, it was just depression talking. Now what? What do you do now? Thank goodness for that email because it gave me an opportunity to stop and reflect. And here's the kicker: I didn't judge myself, I didn't shame myself. I didn't criticize myself for quote unquote wasting time lying on my bed watching TV. I went, oh shit, I'm not doing what I actually want to be doing. I'm not living my life the way I really want to be living it. I'm not doing the things that I really want to be doing. How can I take steps to start to add more of what I love back into my life? So I started out being gentle as fuck, like seriously gentle as fuck. In the past, I would add a shit ton of expectations to myself and try to do them all at once, and then shame myself for failing 2 weeks later when I couldn't do a thing, like for literally being too tired or maybe rolling an ankle. You know, the whole like New Year's resolution style where you make all of these big ideas, these big dreams, and then 2 weeks in, you're burnt out already. Fortunately, I made this realization towards really close to the end of the year, coming into the New Year's resolution time. Speaking of New Year's resolutions, and I usually use the last 10 days of the year to set up my intentions and goals for the following year. I knew that one of the things that I wanted to do, because I wasn't able to do it the previous year, was do more gardening. I completely abandoned my garden in the summer of 2024, and it was a mess. I didn't realize like how much I missed it and how much I needed it. So I knew I wanted to get back into gardening, get back outside. It's really good for my mental health. It gives me something to focus on, to baby, to nurture. Like I really love gardening. So, one of my goals and intentions for 2025, as I've said here, was to get into the garden and to move my body more consistently. I needed gentleness to ease out of depression. I needed to keep my expectation low and my focus on joyful activities. I know that my depression and anxiety for me are most manageable if when I'm able to sweat every day and not like dripping down my face, just get a little bit of heat going, get my heart rate up a little bit. And right now, moving feels a lot. And when I was just coming out of the depression, putting on pants and hitting the pavement for a walk around the block felt like a little bit too much. So instead, I would stay in bed and I would do some gentle stretches and a little bit of yoga with some breathing exercises just to start to get consistent on moving my body in a different way every single day. And that got me into gentle movement, warming me up to doing more vigorous activity slowly over time. After about a week or two of doing this, I was ready to go on that walk. But still, I kept it short. I just walked to the end of the block and back. And each week, I just increased it a little bit more until I felt ready to get back to my previous walking path. I knew I also wanted to get outside more and just tend to my own garden. I missed her so much. And she clearly missed me. So I committed to spending 15 minutes outside in the garden every day. And in the middle of winter and in early spring, it's our wet season here. That's when everything is really starting to grow and get out of control. So I needed those 15 minutes every day to start to tame her, start to clean her up, start to move things where I needed them to be moved. And 15 minutes with a weed whacker is a lot of time. So that's what I did. Just every day, just cleaning, just doing a little bit, just doing what I could, what I had energy for. I also revisited my dopamine menus. Sometimes I forget there's literally anything else I can be doing as besides sitting in bed watching TV or playing video games. So having a menu that I is easily accessible, it's printed out, it's not somewhere I have to go and hunt for, of things that I can be doing that feel good. Now, my dopamine menus are generally like a range of things. They can be going for a walk, it can be making a delightful snack or getting a fancy beverage. It can be doing a quick yoga routine, maybe a breathing practice, doing a little bit of knitting. going on a hike if I need something more ambitious and I have the time, maybe going to the roller rink. Just a dopamine menu can be anything that feels awesome, any hobby, any physical activity, connecting with friends, favorite restaurants, favorite meals, favorite beverages, getting your nails done, getting a massage. The list is endless. You know what you like, you know what you enjoy. And maybe if you can't think of them in the moment, maybe keep like a notes app on your phone or something that you can add to as you're experiencing things, going, oh, yeah, I could add this to the menu. That way, when you're feeling stuck and you don't know what your options are, you don't have to think about it. It's already there for you to peruse. One of the other things that I wanted to do to get through my depression is to plan more social activities by just doing one thing a month. Because when you're going from nothing to something, one thing a month can feel like enough. And do something with someone that you love. It can be going to a restaurant you both appreciate, or maybe engaging in a hobby together, going on a walk somewhere lovely. It can be whatever it needs to be, but try to set up dates with friends and expand into your social network as you're able. Everyone's experience with depression is different. It's important to know your own tells and what helps you step out of the pattern. Learn your tells. Learn what it is that you tend to do when you're in depression. Try to stay active. It's a fine line between needing rest and needing action. And I'm obviously not always the best judge of where I'm at in it, but creating activities that can help you get the dopamine hit that your body needs to shake the depression is important. For me, low effort activities like soap making or even reorganizing a small area of my home are quick ways to get my body into motion. I almost instantly have something beautiful to look at the end of it. It's important that when you're feeling depressed or in crisis to just do something. It really doesn't have to be a lot. It just has to be a little bit of something, because doing something is better than doing nothing. And it gives your mind and your body to something to focus on, to move through whatever you're feeling. If you're struggling, please let your loved ones know. It's true that some people are more available than others, and that not everyone knows how you need help. When you are not feeling super depressed or when you're working on your depression, try to make a list of things that loved ones can do for you or with you when you're struggling. So if you know you need help and you don't know how to ask for it, send them that list. Or maybe look at that list yourself and tell them the thing that you need. Sometimes I know I want somebody near me, but I don't want to talk about what's going on. Sometimes talking about a thing makes the depression worse for me or triggers me in another way. So sometimes I just want a human being to sit with me on the couch and watch a movie. And that is healing. And over time, as I feel safer, I'll begin to open up and talk to them and engage with them. Sometimes I need to ask a friend to just come over and sit with me and say, I don't want to talk about the thing. I just need some company. Come be with me. I hope hearing about my journey with depression and how I moved through it and out of it was helpful to you and gave you some ideas on how to manage depression in your life. Now, I want you to know that sometimes we can feel very overwhelmed and very weighed down by our depression. There's always someone to help. Please check the show notes for resources if you're in desperate need of support right now. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time.